Yeah, no, it was funny. I'm like, should I be making fun of them? Yes, yes, I should. The police chief, did you see his picture? He looked like 10th generation inbred. Like the siblings just kept making children. And
Yeah,
then till they got to him, and I'm looking at him, and I'm just like, whatever they say he did
he
that.
did it. He did it.
He did that.
Black people can't be racist.
Welcome back to Black Behind the Chair. I'm Peppermint Petty,
I'm in pad.
and we are two Black hairstylists who work on all textures of hair. In cosmetology school, we're taught not to talk about religion, politics, sex, and salaries, but this is what happens when Blackness meets the beauty industry. Please subscribe to our channel. We love respectful discourse, so while you're here, leave a comment and like this video. It's a free way to support our growth. You can also connect with us by phone or text by dialing 470-713-5905. Leave your @ if you want a shout out, but you can also comment anonymously that way. Okay, so we're in our second hour. Lots of things we talked about last hour. I wanted to make sure that we discussed, because it's tax season, I wanted to make sure that we talked about this. Are you hearing like the chatter where people are discussing withholding their tax payments from the government right now? Have you been hearing this chatter?
Hmm.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that because I paid a lot of money in taxes last year. It's probably, it's nothing if you're a billionaire, but it was a lot of money to me in
Yeah.
taxes last year. And I just think about like where that money's going. It's going to Israel to blow up kids. It's going to Elon to get, government contracts to fund his bullshit so he can send rockets in the air or whatever. And they're taking away all of the services that I would gladly donate money to with no problem. Like I have no problem
Really?
paying for people to have food, housing, paying for women, single moms or dads to have daycare for their children. You know what I mean? I don't have a problem contributing to those causes.
Hmm.
Um,
Same.
so I found it interesting amongst that chatter that the governor of Maine, her name is Janet Mills, is now saying that um, she will basically that the state of Maine will withhold federal taxes in response to Trump saying that he'll stop federal funding to Maine if they don't uphold his ban on trans athletes. And I just thought that's what a governor's supposed to do. That's what I want my
100%.
governor to do, right? I want my
Yeah.
governor to stand up to not just say it with words, but with action. Like, look, bitch, we will not be sending any federal money.
Hmm. And
Like,
her and her, I'll see you in court.
yes, I
Period.
will see you in court. Yeah. Yeah, and so so when I think about, like I said, hearing people with the chatter about not paying taxes, like they can't take everyone, they can't take everybody to jail, right? They can't take everyone to court. Like, what are we? You're firing the IRS.
Right. Hello.
So like I'm digging this idea. So I'm toying with the idea. I was just telling my mom last night with just putting my tax money in a high yield savings account, high interest yielding savings account, just packing it away and giving myself an extension to pay my taxes until they figure out this government shit, because I can't see myself financially supporting what they got going on right now.
Mhm. Yeah, it's just like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And I know the governor of Illinois, I'm pretty sure he's also made it a point to, he's not going to bow down to Trump either. And I want to say back when Trump pardoned the January 6th insurrectionists, the governor of Illinois was like, well, just so you know, none of you can work here in the state of Illinois.
Like
So
anywhere?
I don't think so.
Oh,
Unless it's like hush hush off
yeah,
record.
like a private. I mean, because
Mhm.
what would stop a private business owner from hiring them?
Yeah.
I mean, but I could see, like, you definitely can't work federally or for the state government. Like, absolutely not. You're an insurrectionist. That's insane.
Like
But
literally wild.
I loved that you saw where HUD was hacked. The housing and urban development was hacked, and they played the video of Trump licking Elon Musk's feet, and it said like "Long live the real king" or something to
I'm
that
convinced
effect.
it wasn't AI. Looked
You
pretty
think
real to
Elon really has two left feet? I mean, I've seen
me.
him dance. Yeah, I've seen him dance.
I do love the conspiracy that Elon's like whole body isn't real. It's a robot and there's a tiny man in his chest controlling him.
That also seems believable. Actually, he does give like three goats in a trench coat or something. Like he just doesn't seem real.
Well, in the
Speaking,
last picture I saw of him, maybe he is human because not that he's ever looked attractive or anything, but he does look like 10 years older. And it hasn't even like been that long. So I'm
it's
kind of
barely been a
like,
month.
ooh,
Yeah,
let's speed it up. Be
literally,
a shame if that heart just stopped one day.
man. But speaking of conspiracy theories, I haven't heard anyone talking about that. I think it's called Neuralink that Elon has with it's like the little chip that they put in your brain. You know what I'm talking about?
I feel like I've heard of this.
So you notice that whenever Donald and Elon are in the same room, Donald is like so quiet. Like he never says anything and he's never quiet ever. Like he's always talking about nothing, rambling, right?
Yeah.
But whenever he's in Elon's presence, he's quiet and he never says anything. And some people speculate that it's because Elon has something on him, which is very possible and maybe even probable. Um, but also, it occurs to me that Elon could have talked him into getting a Neuralink. Like, they do outpatient surgery for smaller things all the time, or for bigger things all the time.
All the time.
So I wonder, I don't know. This
It
shit's
wouldn't
weird.
surprise me if Elon had his own little special private team that he could call up within a matter of minutes and
Mm-hmm.
they would do anything for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about Luigi. So last week when we got together, or last time we got together, he had released a statement thanking everyone for their support. Now there are two documentaries on Netflix and one on HBO where the mayor and the chief detective are literally giving interviews on a case that hasn't even gone to trial yet. They're not
Hmm.
using the word allegedly. Um, I am wondering if I don't know if it's like, are they intentionally trying to throw the case? I saw where his attorney was saying that they were showing evidence that she hadn't even seen yet. And I'm just wondering, like, are they intentionally trying to throw the case, or are they trying to plant, like, basically try the trial in public and plant seeds in the minds of potential jurists? Like, what's going on?
I would believe that one.
That they're trying
Um,
to plant seeds in the mind of
yeah, that they're like trying to twist the narrative because obviously it didn't work in their favor the first time because everyone viewed Luigi as a hero, and then they were like, "Oh fuck, this isn't how we thought people were going to react. So we need to change this tune real quick." I mean, I still think that's why the whole TikTok ban happened because I don't know if you were hearing or seen the video of Israeli soldiers like talking and saying how we have to do something about the TikTok problem because people are believing like Palestinian and what's happening in Gaza, and they're not believing what Israel is telling them. And I'm
Mhm.
like, yeah, I it happens all the time where, they try to control the media, and the media will have you blaming or, saying that the oppressor is the victim.
Mhm.
Which
Yeah.
shocks me.
Yeah. I it we talked about it before where I felt like who knew that that would be the thing that would like unite everybody no matter what your political beliefs were. Kind of everybody was on Luigi's side initially. And it seems like more recently, when I see anyone comment on him, that it's more like trying to shame people for celebrating him. But
Hmm.
I feel like those are bots, like they're propaganda bots. Because I'm just like, if you're not a billionaire, what are you even talking about, honestly?
100%. 100. And billionaires can afford bots. They can pay, generators to make up hundreds of thousands of bots. And yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
mean, we're even seeing it. I was getting a little frustrated, not to change the subject too much, but I was just thinking of like all the ads on streaming services now and how many streaming services there are. And I was just thinking, like, streaming services were created to like step away from cable and commercials and like all that. And now every platform has a streaming app that costs money. So like, and you're paying from anywhere from $5.99, some up to like $75, if you want like live channels and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those now are still with ads. Like, I find it ridiculous that I'm paying like HBO Max, whatever, 15.99 a month, and I still have ads. That's ridiculous. If I'm paying more than $10 for a streaming app, I should not have ads on there.
Yeah,
And
I want to say I'm paying whatever the minimum amount you can pay on Netflix is, that's what I'm paying. And they keep dinging me like, yeah, if you just upgrade, you won't have to see commercials anymore. Like, I feel like the advertisers should be paying you to advertise to us. Like, why are you trying to get money from us to not see ads? Like, I don't.
ding, ding, ding. Hello.
But there's a reason why, they spend so much money researching behavior and why data is such a hot topic, one, but why data is so valuable, because they want to be able to control behavior with advertisements. And they want us to pay for it. It's insane. Like, we live in insano world.
We really do.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Hey guys, it's me, Peppermint Petty, one half of the dynamic duo that is Black Behind the Chair. First of all, we want to thank you for spending your Sunday evenings with us. Every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can join us for salon things, politics, current events, news, jokey jokes, and more. We just love this little community that we're building of like-minded people, and we just want to say thanks so much for being here with us. We're trying to hit a goal of 500 subscribers by the spring. So if you could do us a quick favor and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Also, engaging with our comment by liking, sharing, and commenting allows the algorithm to do what it does. Lastly, if you have something to say to us, anything at all, a question about something in the beauty industry, a topic you'd like us to cover, leave us a voice message at 470-713-5905. You can do that anonymously or leave your social media if you'd like a shout out. And now back to Black Behind the Chair. So the Alabama Police Department, is it Hainesville? Is that how you say that?
I believe, or Haynesville. Yeah.
That the DOJ basically shut them down because they said they're operating as a criminal enterprise.
Yeah. And dispatcher was killed back in August of 2024. Hanceville, yeah.
Yeah, it was funny when I saw it. I was like, dang, so they're operating exactly like every other police force in the nation. Imagine.
Mhm, mhm.
Imagine. And then it was funny. I mean, yeah, no, it was funny. I'm like, should I be making fun of them? Yes, yes, I should. The police chief, did you see his picture? He looked like 10th generation inbred. Like the siblings just kept making children. And
Yeah,
then till they got to him, and I'm looking at him, and I'm just like, whatever they say he did, he fucking did
he
that
did
shit.
it. He did it.
He did that shit for sure.
Yeah, it's just I'm glad that they got charged and like hopefully justice will be served, but
Meanwhile, Donald Trump signed an executive order to end the National Law Enforcement Accountability Database.
mm,
It's gone. If you try to go to it, it's gone. It's no longer there. It's gone.
well, never mind.
In case we thought that there was going to be some form of justice. But he
Right.
was very clear when he was running that he felt that police officers shouldn't be held accountable for anything. Like he was clear that he felt police should be more violent. He didn't feel they were violent enough, that they should be more violent and that they shouldn't be held accountable for that. So,
More violent?
he said it. He
I'm
said
like,
it.
are we not seeing the same police? Like,
Yeah. Yep.
like, what about them is soft, motherfucker? Like, I still blame David Grossman for all of that.
Tell us who David Grossman is.
He's written books about like being, a wolf in sheep's clothing or whatever.
Oh,
And like he's the one that like kind of coined that sheeple
mm-hmm.
mentality.
And
And
doesn't he train police officers?
yeah.
Yeah.
And he actually trained the police department that killed Philando Castiel. And I'm sure like if you look at all of them, probably a lot more.
Sure.
Because I
Because he
want to say
literally
like
travels nationwide and trains police.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say like a lot of police departments use his like courses and classes and shit. And like he fought like he's a colonel and I've seen some of his videos in these course training and I'm like that is crazy that you're telling these men that.
He has
Like
a very us versus them mentality too. Like
yes,
it's the police
yes.
against the citizens. There's
Yeah, I mean he
nothing serve and protect about it. It's very much like we're at war.
He
The
literally says that.
Yeah, citizenry are the bad guys. Yeah,
Yeah, it's just he's extremely violent. And he wrote a book like The Psychology on Killing or some shit. And I'm just kind of like, what does that even mean? Like, defending yourself is one thing, but like to have this mentality of, well, every time you go out on patrol, just know that could be the last time you're coming home. And, is it going to be you or them? And it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, this is not a war.
it
Like, these
is.
are,
It is though.
I
We're
mean,
just
for
the only ones
sure.
who don't know it. Yeah.
For sure. And yeah, it's wild.
And speaking of war, Israel's acting up. So there was a ceasefire deal made under Biden, right?
Hmm.
And Israel's basically just like not done the right thing the entire time.
They're like,
To be clear.
JK,
Literally.
we were
And
just waiting on our buddy to get in.
and now so it seems like they're backing out of it, but they've also cut off all aid to Gaza again, because this isn't the
Hmm.
first time.
Right. Well, and I want to say too, like after Biden or whatever, called for the ceasefire, which they did, but then like within a few hours or the next day, they were dropping bombs. So it's like, are we confusing what ceasefire means, or is there a language barrier there with like I don't know.
Yeah. So one of the good things that's come out of, if it could be considered a good thing, you know, they're canceling, they've fired, all of US aid. My cousin was actually caught up in that firing. So yeah, that's wild. He's an attorney. He literally quit his job at, what is that? Oh, why I'm drawing a blank. It starts with an A. It's just attorneys who basically fight, like they sue on behalf of citizens for like one of the things that my cousin was really integral in fighting was like suspending students from school unnecessarily, or putting prisoners. And what is that? Aflac keeps coming in my brain, and it's not that ACLU.
Oh, I was
He
gonna
worked for
say
the ACLU.
ACLU.
Yes, he worked for the ACLU. He's been working
Oh,
for them and doing like that was his dream job. But
yeah.
USAID approached him and his partner, both began working for them and got caught up in all of that. But clearly, removing aid that we're sending to other countries doesn't apply to Israel. Um, but I appreciate that a lot of African nations that were receiving aid are kind of like, it's fine. We're good. Like, keep your aid. Like, it seems in a lot of ways that some of it was kind of being forced on people,
Mhm.
in order to control the populations again. So I've been following the president of Burkina Faso. Have you been seeing this story?
Mm-mm.
So I know I'm going to butcher his name. It is Ibrahim, that I got. His last name, Traore, maybe. It's Traore. And so he's the president of Burkina Faso, and I pray that, to I'm not even religious at all, but the universe or whoever is listening, that this catches on. So he has managed to clear all of their external debt, because one of the things that colonizing nations have done is they go in, they colonize, and then they basically create, it's kind of like indentured servants, right? They create debt that doesn't exist. Like that's why Haiti is so poor, because we extract all of their resources and then say that they owe us money. So it's like they can't win. But he's managed to clear all of their external debt. So now their country doesn't owe anyone anything. And on top of that, they have some of the largest gold reserves on the continent of Africa, which are now fully under state control. He's currently building housing for all of his citizens. He
Hell yeah.
considers housing to be a human right. He's advocating for the removal of colonial borders and wants for Africans to be able to travel freely between nations. He also wants all Africans to unite under one African identity, because as a part of colonialism, right, that they separated and like made it be this whole, separate thing.
Right.
He's launching an airline, but he's doing a lot of amazing work. And so it's fascinating following him, but it's also interesting because, of course, the international community is concerned. They're concerned that this could inspire other African nations to reconsider their connections with multinational corporations that are extracting resources from them, that they'll reevaluate their economic policies. And they're just concerned about basically the shifting of the balance of power, because 99.9% of the resources that we use are coming from the continent of Africa. That's why Congo is on fire. And actually, over 7,000 people in the Congo have been killed since January. I know when we initially started and we talked a lot about Palestine, we talked about Congo and Sudan, and I just don't want those places. Even I think, is it Nigeria? I think it may be Nigeria that's split now into two different countries, but I just don't want those nations to be forgotten in all of this. So I actually have a video that I want to share in regards to the Congo, because this young lady, it was something very easy that we can do to be supportive. And I feel like, especially in today's economy, we should be considering this anyway. But check this out.
If you want to know how you can help my country, Congo, watch this video. And I'm going to give you two very practical solutions that each and every single one of you guys watching this video can do. You don't have to donate your money. You don't have to do big campaigns and go out in the streets walking if you don't want to. Stop sponsoring big tech companies. What I mean by that is, when this latest iPhone is being released, don't go buy it. Rather go buy refurbished old iPhones. Why? Same thing with Samsung, same thing with all the MacBooks, the iPads, etc., all the technological products, because the mineral used to create these products are what they are stealing from my country. It's the reason why we are being killed and enslaved for over 20 years. It's called coltan, and that mineral is solely found in Congo, and that's why they are killing us. Number two, if you use the sound that I've used in this video and you just record even a 5-second video and you post it on your TikTok, the revenue that the artist that created this song is going to receive, she is sending it direct.
I believe I already reshared that video, but I'll go in and reshare it again in case anyone wants to use that TikTok sound. But in 2025, in this economy, oh, hold on, I'm about to accidentally crash us out of here. We don't want to do that. We should probably be a little more intentional with how we're spending our money, right? And now I don't know how to get that off of there. That's funny. But as simple as, when the new iPhone comes out, or the new Android comes out, or the new tablet comes out, we're so consumed with having the latest this and that, and not thinking about that actual real human beings are being affected. right?
Mhm.
So she's saying as simple as that. When the new thing comes out, don't buy it. If you need a new device, buy refurbished. I can totally do that. And I'm committing to doing that
Mhm.
because it's insane. Congo is also where, I believe it's Congo, where the majority of our rubber comes from for our tires.
Mm.
So,
Yeah, and we just had that little boycott Friday, and I was thinking like, okay, this is great for a day. And I was also thinking like, you don't think these big billionaire companies can't have one bad day? Like it needs to be a permanent thing. And I know like for me, I deleted my Amazon account. Like I and cuz I was like, yeah, I can't support. I haven't shopped at Target since, like it has to be a full-time commitment. And I've even been telling people too, like, the Montgomery bus boycotts, like those lasted a year.
yep.
So we got to
Yeah,
be
I
able
think
to
when I
keep
looked it
this
up, it was
long.
372 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
again, like, cool, it's nice that we can all do this for a day, but it has to be a little long bigger than that.
Yeah.
Or if we're gonna make it a day event, it needs to be a little more well planned. Like, hey, instead of everyone like boycotting these businesses, how about we show up to a business? Or, the White House. I don't
Yes.
know, just a thought.
Let me tell you something. When, again, going back to Ferguson, Ferguson lit a fire under my ass. So Mike Brown was killed on August 9th of 2014.
Mhm.
There were it I think to this day is like now the longest sustained protest since the civil rights movement. I was in and out of Ferguson a lot because at that point I was still living in Indiana. I could just hop on the highway when I wasn't working. I was there a lot. One of the most powerful displays that I've ever been a part of was on Black Friday that same year. So he was killed in August. On Black Friday that year, we shut down a Walmart and three malls. I'm telling you, they locked the doors, pulled the gates down, and was like, there will be no shopping because we were outside. White
Mhm.
people were yelling at us. White women were like yelling at, like, why are you guys doing that? Just like, um, that's what I'm talking about. That's what
Yeah.
I'm talking about. Like, call me when it's time to do shit like that. I'm here for that.
Black people can't be racist.
I do find it like what is with Soldier Boy, Boozy, and like Dave Chappelle? Like as black men, what is your guys' obsession with trans people?
Yeah,
Like what trans woman broke your heart? What's going
literally.
I want to know the queen that turned you down and now you're like questioning your whole identity because of this moment.
Yeah, yeah.
Cuz keep the name out of your
The
mouth.
names out of your like, why? Yeah, what's your obsession is exactly right. And I feel like Soldier Boy has been like there have been some pictures posted of Soldier Boy that make it seem like he might have some internal battles that he's fighting. And like it's fine. It's 2025. Nobody
Yeah,
cares. Like
be
I
who
realize
you
they're
are.
trying to outlaw gay marriage again, but like join the fight. Join the fight.
Yeah.
If that's
Yeah.
what you're into. It's not that big of a deal.
Exactly. Like, yeah, who cares? Like, at
Yeah,
the end of the day, as long as everyone's of age and it's all consensual, who the fuck cares what's
that's
going on in
literally
that
it.
bedroom?
Absolutely. That's literally my line. If it is consenting adults, it is not our business.
Yeah,
Two key words, consenting and adults.
because Boozy has always been like super homophobic and transphobic. But
He's
like,
all of the things because he also hired a prostitute to take his child's virginity.
I was just gonna say, but like, you were okay with your what 13-year-old son going into a strip club and like making out with a grown woman?
It's weird. It's weird.
That's
Yeah.
predatory, babe.
Yeah. Yeah. No, Boosie definitely gives, and that's funny because he actually lives right up the road from me. So I'm always thinking I'm gonna see him somewhere. No, he's weird. He has weird thoughts on things. Boosie has one of his daughters is gay and like not speaking
Yeah.
to him, and yeah, he's just, sometimes people just like talk too damn much. Like, just because you think it doesn't mean you need to say it all the time. Some shit you should just let rattle around in your head. It's fine.
What happened to inside thoughts?
Use your inside thoughts.
We should bring that. We
Absolutely.
should bring that back.
Yes.
Like I'm not a super huge fan of bullying, right? Because like that's very serious. But I
Mhm.
will say some people need to be bullied, and Boozy is one of them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
No, he's gross. And I'm always trying to, this is why you don't idolize celebrities. Because again, in Ferguson, Fuck the Police was like the anthem by
mhm.
Boosie. You know what I mean? And was very timely and appropriate. But he does apparently, allegedly, a lot of community work, like good community work. But like, stop talking.
Yeah.
Just stop talking.
Let your actions speak for
Let your
themselves.
actions speak, and like, it's fine to read a book occasionally. You won't die, I swear.
Yeah. 100%.
It's
And
fine.
yeah, it's nice that Marlon Wayans is sticking up for their child as well. And I want to say he's come out and said this like uh he might not have initially cared if it weren't his child. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And so again, even though it's great that he's defending his child, it's like, well, why did you have to wait until and also, like, how long did you prolong your child from truly being themselves because
You
you
couldn't get your shit together.
yeah, like
Yeah,
you've said and done, I'm
yeah,
sure you might have said like quote unquote jokes or something and your child was like, "Oh, well, I got to wait because dad isn't going to accept me."
yeah, yeah. I
Like I
can't imagine.
feel
And I mean, I get it. Like, from a human standpoint, I understand like not thinking about, like, something just doesn't cross your mind until you don't have any other choice, right? Like, I think I've said on here before, like, I grew up in a military family. And by the time I got to high school, we were in very small town Illinois. In hindsight, I realized that there were absolutely LGBTQ plus people in my high school, but it just wasn't something that we talked about or that I thought about in that, because it just wasn't a part of my lexicon at the time. So I understand how it can happen that it just would never cross your mind. But I don't appreciate that once it does cross your mind, like once it is, okay, it's here, you can't deny it, it's here, to then just ignore it until it affects you personally just pisses me off because, I don't know where it's from when it's like, first they came for the Jews and I didn't say anything because I wasn't
Yeah.
Jewish, and then they came for
Mhm.
the blacks and however that goes.
Yeah.
Once I see injustice, I can't just not say anything. Like, I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna say
Yeah.
something.
100%.
Did I tell you about what happened a couple of weeks ago with my husband at the shoe store?
Mm,
So, in case I didn't, um, so I love Thai food, and I was wanting to cook this red curry Thai dish, and so I found an Asian grocery store near my home. Um, and my husband and I went to it when we were doing what we call our old people errands on
mhm.
Sunday. Like, we like to like go to, the hardware store and like just do old people shit on Sundays. We go to the Asian grocery store, we get there and realize that they sell hot food. And we're both fat kids. We love a good hole in the wall, whatever. And it's very definitely a hole in the wall. So we're like, oh, they have hot food. We haven't eaten. We're going to order some food. So we did. So I'm standing there waiting on my food, and my husband decides to go and explore. It's in a shopping center. It's like at the end of a shopping center. So while we're waiting on the food, he's going to go and explore the rest of the shopping center.
Mhm.
So he leaves. He comes back. We get our food. We leave. He doesn't tell me until the next day, and I know he did that on purpose because he knows me. He doesn't tell me until the next day that one of the stores he went in was a store that sells work shoes. Shoes with like non-slip soles, or like steel toe boots, like things like that, work shoes. So he goes in, and the woman behind the counter greets him and asks if there's anything she can help him with. No, he's just looking. A few minutes later, these two Spanish speaking men walk in. This bitch asked them for ID. So I'm like, what did you say? And
Yeah.
he's like, he was so stunned that like he couldn't even speak because he was just stunned. And they were like, oh, yeah, 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 we have ID. And they left. And he said he just left right behind them because, like, obviously I'm not spending any money here.
Right.
Um, but I'm just like, the fucking audacity.
Well, and that just makes me think of that video I sent you where the guy had the ice, like,
Yes.
yeah, and he was like, "Oh, are you an ice?" He's like, "No." But it's funny to see like all the Mexicans like squirm when you go into a hardware store. And it's like, are you hearing yourself?
These people are insane. Like, you're insane.
Like, and
The end.
racist.
Super
Like,
racist.
that's wild.
Super racist. Like, I'm just waiting for something like that to happen in front of me. I don't know how I'll react, but like, I look forward to finding out because I know I'm not going to be quiet. I know I'm
Yeah.
not. I know I'm
I,
not.
I say all the time, I'm like, the universe must just know not to do that.
Literally. And like, even in 2020 when we were locked down and there were all the videos of the Karens going crazy, like in the stores, and I'm like, that stuff never happens around me. And I just
Yeah.
want it to, like, one good time, just one time.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm definitely going viral. I'm
Yeah,
definitely going viral.
for sure. For sure. Hey, I see you scrolling for a new podcast to follow, and let me recommend you one. I'm Impad, one of your co hosts for Black Behind the Chair. And imagine this salon gossip so juicy it feels like you're actually in the chair, with pop culture takes that actually make a little sense. And a sprinkle of politics because I know being a black, queer, fat woman in America is always up for discussion. So, what are you waiting for? Hit play on Black Behind the Chair and join the conversation. Trust me, you won't want to miss it.
So, speaking of white people acting up, I've been fascinated by all the videos of white people at town hall meetings. I know I sent you the one with the lady where the security guy like dragged her out, like drug her out. And then it turns out it was just like a private security firm. They weren't even actual police officers.
Right.
And I think the part about that video that stood out to me the most was that everybody sat around and watched and nobody did anything. And that's what I mean. I hope I just don't believe I'm that person. I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
But I just don't believe I'm that person. But I found these videos I wanted to share. Got to be able to see my screen here.
Also, like, her friends were there too, and, like, just allowed them to take her.
Yep. All right. So we're going to start actually in Missouri. I love this. Let's
Hey.
see. Let's see. So what's going on here? Missouri Congressman Mark Alford got the exact warm reception he deserved at his coffee chat this morning. Not a moment of peace. So yeah, I loved this one. Let's see.
Elon Musk has got to go! Hey, hey! Elon Musk has got to go!
Like they're out the door.
Yeah.
Elon Musk has got to go!
So I love that one.
See, it would be so hard for me not to, like, throw something or, like, hit physically, I don't know.
Literally. No, I love that. And then I loved this one at the governor's ball. So this is actually the US Army choir. I thought this was a fascinating protest because they didn't even realize they were being protested.
Mhm.
So the song that they're singing, is it from Les Miserables? So we don't have to watch the whole thing, but I just thought it was fascinating that they didn't. So if you look up the words to the song's called "Do You Hear the People Sing?" And it's a protest song, and they're everybody's just sitting around like sipping their tea, like everything's cool.
Mhm.
And that's the military. So I find that fascinating because the military is protesting. Hmm.
Well, and, someone just spoke out how, like, they don't take we don't take orders from a king or,
Yeah, yeah,
a man trying to be a dictator, and it's like, "Okay, alright."
yeah. And I think I've often said that I believe that that is the thing that a lot of people are not counting on because going back to what I said earlier in the broadcast, that Air Force, not Air Force, but just military in general is made up of a lot of poor people who are just trying to escape poverty. And so to assume that all of these poor people are going to go in and fight their own communities, I think is probably a misjudgment at best. Not to say that some of them, I'm sure some of them will happily do it. I've had clients over the years that couldn't wait to join the military and be in infantry so that they could kill black and brown people. Um, so not to say that there isn't some of that and maybe even a lot of that, But I think as a general rule, they're going to be surprised if they try to use the military against the people.
Mhm. Yeah, I feel like yeah, you'll probably have like certain groups amongst like, Marines and Air Force and all that that might try inside, but yeah, I agree. And with younger generations growing up too, like some of them, even though they're a little dumb sometimes, a lot of them do have empathy for other people. And, these younger generations are more black, brown, queer, a part of a minority group, anyways. So it's like, yeah, you guys might have a hard time fighting that battle.
I don't think it's going to go the way they think it's going to go. And the thing that I have been telling myself just to keep the anxiety at bay is that at the end of the day, there's more of us than there are of them. And they can't go door to door, household to household. Like it's just not whatever the world used to be when that was a possibility, it's not that anymore. And so I just don't think it's going to go how they think it's going to go. I look forward to what the next phase looks like. And we talked before about how I was just walking around shell shocked for the first 3, 4 weeks of this administration. Um, but I've managed to get back to a place of like, to say that I'm feeling positive would be a stretch, but I
Mhm.
just don't feel so defeated and like doomsday, it's the end of the world anymore either. We still got a long way to go. Like I said,
Yeah.
everybody be saying four more years, or at the end of 4 years, but there's already a movement to have him elected for a third term. And he's been pretty clear that he doesn't intend to leave office, so I'm not waiting around for that.
Yeah. And like I'm also annoyed that everyone's so shocked that, he acted the way he did with Zelensky or said that, he supports Russia and Putin and all that cuz I'm like, where have y'all been? Like I've been known that he was cool with them. What do you mean?
They literally proved it the last time he was in office. I feel like he was
Yeah,
a
hello.
hesitant. So
Like,
like if you don't know, you're just purposely trying not to know. There's no
mhm.
other explanation,
Yeah,
honestly.
because I was even thinking, I was like, weren't they photographed together like way before? And I looked at, yeah, there were articles dating back to 2015.
Hmm. Hmm. Zelensky's a badass, though. I really like him as a. I mean, obviously he's not our president, but
Yeah.
he's a badass. I love that the president of the country is literally fighting alongside his citizens, as you should. Unlike our president who dodged the draft.
I was
Like,
about to say, shouldn't a leader do that? Like,
but in other news, Tesla stock is down 50%. So there's that.
hell yeah. I did see was somewhere up north that one of the Tesla stores got vandalized
Mm,
and like
as it
a lot
should.
of the cars were destroyed and like the windows were broken out and I was like, hell
That's
yeah.
fabulous. Good job.
Yes.
Good
I don't
job,
I don't know a
Antifa.
thing.
Or
Right.
whoever did it.
Yeah, I keep thinking this is going to go one of two ways. Either it
Mm,
could get apocalyptic and scary, or I'm hoping that they'll just kind of self implode on each other and it might be like scary for a little bit, but not long term.
yeah. And I think that second thing is much more likely just because they both have such gigantic egos. And I just can't imagine Donald Trump bowing down to Elon forever.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know, but I just can't see. He doesn't want to look weak
Well,
in
it
front of
depends if
people.
he has that Nero chip in him or not.
Yeah, literally.
Ooh, you will
So,
find this funny. So, I don't know if we're friends on Facebook, but I shared this picture and it was like, this is the immigrant that's stealing your job. And it's a picture of Elon Musk.
mhm.
And so I get a FaceTime later from my sister, and we have different dads. And so she was like, hey, so you'd probably find this funny, but you ruffled some feathers with your post. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, what did I post that would have ruffled feathers? Like, it
Mhm.
completely went over my head. And she was like, yeah, my dad saw that, you shared that this is the immigrant stealing your job. And he was really upset because he said that he's one of the most intelligent men in the world. And he wanted to comment, but I told him not to. She was like, I literally was begging him, like, Dad, please don't. Like, she will destroy you in one
She didn't
paragraph.
want. I was just gonna say she doesn't want to be embarrassed.
Yeah, yeah, she was like, "We have the same last name, like, I don't wanna be pulled into this," and, like, blah, 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 and I guess she, like, told our mom, and she was like, "Yeah, Dad wanted to comment on Mariah's Facebook," and my mom was like, "Well, you told him no, right? Like, he's not gonna do that," and
Yeah,
I was like, "Why not? He can
yeah.
comment. I'm
Let him
31
do
years
it.
old.
Let him do
We're
it.
adults."
It's just gonna end in him blocking you. It'll be fine.
That's the thing. So, like, we're not even friends on Facebook, but he follows me on Facebook.
That's weird.
And I was
Did
like,
he request you and you just didn't accept him because you don't fuck with him like that? Or he just followed you and didn't request you?
I think he just followed me and didn't request me.
Yeah, that's weird.
Cause I've popped off on him quite a few times. And so that's what I even brought up. I was like, does he not remember when I went off on him at a hula hands? And my sister was like, ever since that day, he's never brought it up. And I was like, I bet not.
I bet he didn't.
Yeah, like, leave me alone. Don't piss me off.
Yeah, do not piss me off.
That's a wrap, but the movement marches on. Black Behind the Chair isn't just a show, it's a statement. We're IMPAD and
Peppermint Petty.
challenging you to be your most authentic, unfiltered self, both in the salon and beyond. Keep shaking the table and breaking the mold. Until next time, power to the curl.
Cheers.
Cheers.